Hello, everyone. My name is Chris. I'm going to be presenting this presentation, Finding and Applying for Scholarships. I think what we'll do is just wait a few more minutes, a minute anyway, for the rest of the people to file in. So sit tight and we'll start very shortly. Thanks. Okay, I think we're ready. So let's get going and see what we've got around finding and applying for scholarships. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. We hope you get the most out of this virtual event. We do in-person events in the fall, and we'll do another series in the spring. And the in-person, of course, is kind of interesting and maybe nice because you get to see people and network, and but not everyone is in the cities that we're in. So this is a great way to connect if you're not close to an in-person event. And also you can enjoy it from the comfort of your own home. So I'm hoping we'll learn something. There's a Q&A, so feel free to post your questions. Preya, who's moderating for us, will monitor the Q&A, but I think we'll leave questions, the Q&A until the end. No doubt there are many questions, but we'll try to catch up on those towards the end of the presentation. So over the next 40 or so minutes, 50 minutes, we want to cover, I guess, a range of things from, how to find scholarships, what a scholarship is, some of the tips and tricks, and how to use the ScholarshipsCanada, the website. So we'll take a look at some of the ways that you can find and apply for scholarships. We'll start with a quick bio. So my name is Chris Wilkins. I'm the founder and CEO at Scholarships Canada and the School Finder Group. The School Finder Group is a larger organization that runs School Finder and the Study and Go Abroad and School Finder events now, Study in Canada, which is our website for international students, and EdTech for schools looking to communicate and recruit students. After I went to high school, I followed on to Trent, which is a great sort of smaller liberal arts university in Peterborough. Had a great time there, but I was early. I think I was 16, 17, so a bit early. And I took a year off, like a gap year after first year, which I loved. Went and worked in the oil rigs, which I loved. So I really kind of discovered a bit about myself, which I really enjoyed. Then went to Western, which is a larger school, and probably got into a little bit too much trouble with parties and whatnot, and left there and went to Glendon, and loved Glendon. Small, again, liberal arts school, part of the York University here in Toronto, and it was really a lot of fun. And I think I realized I like smaller schools rather than larger schools, and some other things. Got a history degree, loved that. And then after working for several years, I went and did my MBA at the London Business School in the UK, which was an amazing experience, and had a lot of fun doing that, really challenging. And sort of out of that experience, I started this business. So kind of a long educational career, but, sometimes you've got to do that. And no doubt, if you're in high school now looking to go to college or university next year, one of the options is taking a gap year. And it's not a bad idea for some people. In fact, I think 10 to 20% of students graduating high school intending to go to post-secondary take a gap year. So great opportunity to learn about yourself, to do something, maybe to make some money, and then go on to post-secondary from there. But yeah, everyone has their own path. You just got to keep figuring out what it is, what your path is. We often talk about, in terms of scholarships and the value of a post-secondary education, is it worth it? And these are Stats Canada numbers, and they sort of take the average median or average income of someone with a high school diploma all the way up to a master's and doctorate. And it's pretty clear that the more education you get, the more money you're going to make over your career. So if you assume your career is whatever, 40 years, so 20 to 65, then, if you get a bachelor's degree, you're going to make $2 million over that period. And if you get a doctorate or a master's, on average anyway, you might make $3 million. So you're going to make more money with the post-secondary education. So if that's not clear, hopefully it is now. It's worth it. But it's more than just money. I started this business with a view to trying to help or change the world by making scholarships more available or accessible, and also education with our School Finder and Study in Canada websites. And I think it's important. We live in a crazy world right now, as we all know, with what's going on in the Middle East and what's going on in the Ukraine. And, it's education it's not a silver bullet, but it's certainly a way to improve the world. The more people who are educated, the more environmentally conscious they are, the healthier we have, in terms of habits, the healthier we are, and the higher level of civic participation. And this, I think, is important in the long term if we're going to survive on this planet. So we love education, and we love that you're interested in going on, or if you're in post-secondary now, going on to grad or master's or doctorate programs. It's such a great experience, and not only will it benefit you, but it will benefit the community and everyone around you. There are a lot of, now we talk about scholarships and what we label here the terms of art. There are a lot of different words used for scholarships, awards, bursaries, grants. Essentially, a scholarship is related to your grades and accomplishment. But it's not always that way. I mean, it's sort of interchangeable. Bursaries generally do refer to awards that are based on financial need. So you need to be in financial need. That's usually defined by the award. But it would, as a rule of thumb, it would mean if you're eligible for a student loan, you're probably eligible for a bursary, if you want a sort of a general rule of thumb. An award is that general term, so it means scholarship, bursary, whatever we refer to, all of them as awards. And then a grant is a support, usually based on grades or accomplishments, and usually related to master's or doctorate studies. And so it's a one-time sort of chunk of money that you would get to pursue a program generally at that higher level. If you're coming from high school and going into post-secondary, the question is, what can you use scholarships for? And you will have to pay for things, especially if you're living away from home. So, you can use the scholarship money in many cases for savings and work, family, or you can source it from family and friends, loans, or in scholarships and bursaries. Great. And what could you do with a scholarship, a $100,000 scholarship? Well, you can buy textbooks. If you're just going into post-secondary, you're going to find the ugly truth that textbooks or that material that you use for learning is going to cost you something. It depends on where you're going into. If it's science and maths and whatnot, it may be higher than humanities. But it could be as much as $1,000 a year. You've got your transportation, phone bills, entertainment. So that all adds up. And most scholarships, you can apply the money to whatever you want. Some are limited to your tuition, but most are, really it's, if you win the scholarship, you can apply that money to whatever costs you incur. There are a lot of myths around scholarships, so we'll talk about a few of them here. And so one big myth is, I need high marks, or I don't have the marks, so I won't get the scholarship. and we refer to them as scholarships, which implies that they're based on academic achievement. But the reality is, most awards or scholarships in our database and that are out there, 85% of them, in fact, don't require an academic average. So you don't even need an average. It's not just a high average. So you don't need an average at all. So don't let that myth deter you from looking for a scholarship. There are lots of awards out there, as we'll see in a minute, that are based on other things such as community service, heritage, special interest, and all sorts of other qualities. Myth number 2, there's a lot of competition. And in fact, it's true, for a bigger scholarship, some of them that may be worth, $50,000, $70,000, there will be a lot of competition. We will show you on the website if the scholarship is getting a lot of views, which is one way to gauge your chances of winning it. But most scholarships don't have a lot of competition, and most scholarships that may be worth anywhere from $500 to $3,500 or $5,000, still a lot of money, but they don't get nearly the competition that the bigger ones do. And when we survey scholarship administrators, 59% of them tell us they want more applications. They're not getting enough applications. So don't let the fact that, I'll never win, I don't have the marks, or I don't have an outstanding resume or whatever, I won't win. Well, if you try, you may win. In many cases, there will be fewer applications than more. And then this number at the bottom, 3% of scholarships receive no applications at all. So there are scholarships out there that don't receive an application at all. So if you apply to that, you may be the winner. No competition. We get this question a lot. Scholarships are only provided by schools. So a college or university that I'm going to will provide scholarships, but that's it. And the reality is, no, there are 10,000 scholarships that are awarded by non-educational administrators. So these would be everything from a union to a bank, a company, an organization, any number of different groups that are non-educational. And of course, they're hard to find, which is why I think the website helps, because when you sign up, you get matched and you can start finding these non-educational scholarships that you wouldn't otherwise find. Myth number 4, scholarship deadlines are only in the spring. So we kind of think, the school year ends in the spring and it starts in the fall, and we start applying, I guess, now. And in the winter, we get our offers in the spring, and we accept and decide where we're going to go in the spring, and that's when the scholarships happen. And yes, there are a lot of awards that are that have deadlines in April, May, June, July. But the reality is there are awards that have deadlines throughout the year. So we encourage you, if you use the site, and of course we encourage you to use it, but when you use it, to sign up to things like deadline alerts. So there's a tool that we offer, an email service that goes out once a month that will give you a heads up on scholarships that you may be eligible for that have deadlines in the next 40 days. So really useful to help keep you alert and apprised of what's coming, so you don't miss a deadline. So there are deadlines throughout the year, but and some scholarships don't have deadlines, believe it or not, but most do. And most have deadlines. If you miss a deadline, you're out of luck. So it really does make sense to keep tabs on it with the scholarship deadline alert, which we'll see in a minute. Myth number 5, I'm not in financial need. So much like bursaries, 36% with any bursary, 36% of the scholarships don't require you to be in financial need, or only 36, require that. So 64% of the scholarships are, open game. You don't have to be in financial need. I'll also mention too, if you are in college or university now, there are many scholarships awarded in years 2, 3, 4. So not just entrance or first year, but there will be awards throughout your educational pathway at a college or university. So it's great to manage the scholarship supply going into college, university, but then you will have awards that are available when you're in college, university years 2, 3, and 4. So carry on the search, and you may win money that supports you through your whole educational career. Okay, little checklist to remember. Scholarships, bursaries, and contests are often not based on marks. Most often not based on marks. Most administrators want more apps. More than just schools award scholarships. Deadlines are year-round. You don't need to be in financial need. And you can't win if you don't apply. And there is an award for you. Okay, let's talk about some of what you'll see, and this will just give you a sense of the listings on the website. So when you're matched, you will get a sort of a link to, in this case, Retail Educational Scholarship Program. So in this particular case, it's a group that we work with and we know well. They want you to have some retail experience. You need to provide a reference letter. You don't need to be in financial need. It's all years of study, which means it's not just first year, like going into college or university. It could be second, third, or fourth year. You could be going to a college or a university. College, of course, is a diploma program. University would be a bachelor. Although now it's complicated because many colleges offer bachelor programs and universities offer diplomas. But the point is, you don't need to be, it's any level here, undergrad level. You don't need any academic average, and it's worth $5,000, and there are 18 available. So, I mean, I can't see your hands, but hands up who's interested. I mean, who hasn't got a little retail experience? That's all you really kind of need. This is a great opportunity, right? And then while I'm here, I mentioned, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, by the way, we will make these presentations available as well as the deck so that you can, you'll get a copy of that. But you can see in the top right, I don't know if my mouse is over, but the top right of the image there, it will say views, and this one is low at this time, whenever this was taken. So that means over the last month, there have been a low number of views. So it's a scholarship that, at this point anyway, not a lot of people have looked at. So worth applying to, not lots of competition. You could win $5,000. We'll look at this one, the Horatio Alger National Entrepreneurial Scholarships. This is open to high school students, which is unusual. Most scholarships are open to high school students going into college or university. And if this is the one, I know we have one running right now for Horatio Alger. It's for grade 11 students. So it's unusual because most of them, as I said, are really for students transitioning into college or university. This is for someone in high school. Entrepreneurial skills, 10 awards, decent grades, but 65, that's decent. That's not a high grade. Financial need, so there is a financial need part of it here, but not a bad award. I think it's $10,000, so great, and it's grade 11. Who that's fantastic, right? Bill 7 award for LGBTQ. So there are a lot of awards that are for people, certain heritage or certain circumstance. So LGBTQ, this is specifically for that group. You do need to be in financial need. It's studying in Ontario at a college or university, $3,500 each. Lots of awards available, 20 of them, and they're open to first year only. So that's a situation where it's not all years, it's first year going into college or university. The Marjorie Young Bell scholarships, in this case offered by a school, Mount Allison out east, for outstanding high school grads. Leadership, volunteer, community service. This is a biggie. A lot of awards ask for this. So they may ask you to write an essay or to demonstrate or to explain what leadership and community service experience you have. So I know most of us are all getting it in high school, but the more of this, the better. And incidentally, when we're hiring people too, it's always something you look at. You want to see what the candidate has in terms of, what are they involved in the community? Do they have some sort of civic engagement? It always helps on your resume as well as applying for scholarships. In this case, 3 reference letters, and we'll talk about these additional documents in a minute. An essay, it's worth 12 grand a year, renewable for your whole degree. So renewable is a term that, and it will be indicated on the scholarship, on the profile. Renewable means that it will be renewable for 1 or more years. So you may win it in the first year and it's renewable for another year, or in this case for your whole degree. So it may be renewable for 4 years. So as long as you meet the requirements, typically you will receive whatever the award is, 12 grand in this case, every year. And it includes a paid internship. We're seeing more of this as well. So some awards may be given with a proviso or with an internship opportunity, as this one is. So you win the award, you win 12,000, it's renewable, which is great, and you get an internship. So you get some work experience. So great opportunity. Good. I'll stop there. I don't know, Prey, if there are a ton of questions as we transition to the next part of the presentation.
Yeah, we do have some questions here. If you want, we can go through some of them, but I think some might get answered in the next section.
Okay.
So there's a few people asking for tips on applying to scholarships.
Definitely get answered, yeah, as we go through it.
International scholarships, specific types of scholarships like available to women in trades, things like that.
Yeah. So there will be, and we'll look at some of those in a minute, like women in trades, tips and tricks for international. And I know there are some students here from who are not Canadian, living outside of Canada or in Canada, but are international. There are scholarships in the system, in the database for international students. But to be honest, there are fewer scholarships for international students than there are for Canadian students. It's just kind of right now the way it is. Doesn't mean you won't find them. So I would search. Some of them, are awarded whether you're international or not. There are some what we call contests or surveys. So there are opportunities to win some money, and it's not specifically a scholarship, but it's an opportunity to fill out a survey, and you could win $500 or something. So there are opportunities like that on the website. So there are different ways that you can sort of figure out your financing if you're international. And yeah, some of the other things will be clarified, I think, as we go through this. So let's carry on. When you create a profile, you will be asked things like field of study, year of study. So field of study is the program you're interested in if you're in high school. So I'm interested in doing biochemistry or engineering or arts or fine arts. And we provide a list on the site when you go in to choose that's pretty granular. So I think you can select up to 10. Select all that you're interested in, and that'll better match you to scholarships either from schools or from non-educational organizations that will match them better to your profile. If you're not sure, you can select you're not sure as well. Year of study, are you going into first year, which is entrance? Are you in first year? Second, third, or fourth indicate that. And then graduate, same thing, first year graduate or going into graduate, first or second year. Activities, select as many as you can. Here, again, there are scholarships, as we just saw, that are specifically targeted to based on sports interest or religious interest, academics, etc. Academic average, provide your most recent grades or best guess. This isn't going to, we wouldn't encourage you to lie, be honest, because it will. Some scholarships, as we know, do require certain grades. So if you put in a high grade and you don't have those grades, you get matched to scholarships that may not be the right ones for you. But yeah, put in your most current grades. Don't worry if you haven't got your final grades, which you won't have right now. Other factors, heritage, indicate any of them that apply. Again, there are scholarships for Indigenous students, for instance. There are a lot more. I think Trey mentioned female females interested in whatever programs. There are a lot of scholarships now that are specifically designated to females in certain programs like STEM. Affiliation, if you're connected to a company or a religious group, union, if your parents belong to a union, they work for a company, indicate all of them that apply. Again, there will be scholarships that are specifically designated for students, parent or children of parents who work for different groups or belong to different groups. Personal circumstances. There are scholarships in the system. I think it's Manulife offers a scholarship for single parents or kids who have lost a parent recently. There are scholarships for mothers, single mothers who are going back to school. So any that apply, just mark those down, because again, there are awards in there, or maybe awards that we can match you to. Financial need. This is the sort of bursary check. If you're not sure, you can check, it says here, with the administrator, and we provide those details. So if you're not sure about a scholarship and it's come up in your list of awards, and you're interested, there will be contact information. So it could be an email address, a phone number, of course, a mailing address. You don't probably want to use that, but and a website, so a URL. So there'll be ways that you can get in touch with the administrator, and we encourage you to do that. They're very happy to help you. And as we saw earlier, many scholarships don't get enough applications, so they want to help you. They want to answer your question, so they're there to help you. Location is where you live, and also where you want to go to school. But location is where you're living now. Okay, easy. Get matched. Let's see. I went the wrong way. So I'm going to flip here. I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to start sharing. I've logged in. We're going to take a quick look at the website. So I will flip over here to this, and then I will start sharing again, and hopefully you will see the site. So now you're going to see the spot me. Preya, are we seeing the Scholarships Canada website?
Yep.
Excellent. So this is the site, and all the information's free. You don't have to create an account if you don't want to. The reason you would is to get matched to scholarships. There are tens of thousands of scholarships on the site. It would also be to sign up, as I mentioned earlier, to things like deadline alerts, so that you get a monthly email that says, the following scholarships you may be eligible for have deadlines. And also other things. So if you're also looking for a school, we have a sister site, School Finder, which we'll be presenting on at 8 o'clock. And that will help you find the right school, program, et cetera, to get into. There are other notifications that if you sign up to be notified that are really useful, like scholarships. So we work with dozens of scholarship administrators who are trying to increase the number of applications and get build awareness for their scholarships. If you subscribe to those bits of information, that will help as well. So we do encourage you to create an account, but most of the information is available without doing it. It's a really popular place right now for browsing. So if you want to take a quick look at Indigenous scholarships, I mentioned earlier. So we've listed, there are 1,900 scholarships here totaling $3 million for Indigenous students who are of Indigenous background. So, you could go through 1,900 scholarships, and there are, filters here that you could use, but it's easier just to create an account than it's all laid out for you. But yeah, so that's a very popular area. Featured scholarships are scholarships that are featured for the month. So these are people that are keen to have you apply. And so these are some of the options here. I mentioned earlier things like you could win $250 if you're an international student or any student by joining the CMA. The CMA is the Canadian Marketing Association. So they run this promo throughout the year, and they choose, I think, 3 winners. And if you join the network, which, by the way, is a great way to learn about marketing yourself, getting a job, all that sort of stuff. So it's not just marketing, but it's learning how to market yourself. It's all free, but you could win $250. Canada's Luckiest Student is a big award. And then, yeah, all sorts of other awards here. Our award for coming to this fair. So that's featured scholarships. Resources is fabulous. You got lots of tips. So all sorts of different tips and tricks. FAQs, alternate financing. So scholarships is one way to figure out what to do, but you've also got provincial loans, student loans, lines of credit, etc., and other resources. I won't go into all of them here. Discover, and then we'll log in. So Discover is content section. So there's all sorts of what we think might be interesting. And again, we'll send this out on a weekly or monthly basis if you're signed up to things like newsletters. So we do things regularly, like how to become a cybersecurity analyst in Canada. And we'll provide an overview of what that is with links. I think we usually put a link in the bottom to programs. So if you are interested in this particular area of study, we put links into the schools here that are offering these programs. So all sorts of great stuff in Discover, as well as, search tips, scholarship tips, etc. And winners. So, part of it is, okay, I can't imagine I could win an award, but we post with some awards, some of the winners, so that you get a sense of, okay, maybe I could do it. This person, I got sort of the same profile as they do, and so maybe I should apply, and maybe I could win. So we provide that information to inspire you or to encourage you to go and try and apply. Okay, I'm going to log in. I've got my account, so I'm going to log in with my details. When you create an account, it's all free. You create an account, you go through the process that we described earlier. I can show you what the some of the questions are. So I'm a student. Some other important information here. We don't share this information with anyone, so everything you give us is kept private. And we don't email you unless you allow us to. So we have, I'll show you in a minute, the communication preferences. So we ask where you live, what school you're going to, what your interests are. And for the scholarship profile in particular, this is the heritage stuff. So these are the questions that I think are really important and might help you zero in on some scholarships that are specifically for you based on these attributes: extracurricular activity, boxing, choir. So there must be a scholarship in the system that's for the Canadian Western Aberration exhibitor. So canoeing, Christian ministry. So all of these things really useful. Affiliation. This is a search list. So if I search union, I'm going to get tons of unions. So if you or your more likely parents are a member of the Lakehead University Alumni Association, there may be a scholarship for you. Personal circumstances, all of this, really important to fill this out. Okay. If I indicate that I'm interested in finding schools, which I've done in this profile, then I will also be matched to schools, not just scholarships. So based on my profile and my interest, these are universities or colleges that are interested in reaching out or connecting with me. So if I select any of these and submit, then I will send an email to the school or communication piece, and they will reach out to you to answer any questions, and I guess ultimately recruit you to go to that school. You don't have to fill anything out. I'm just going to skip and go to my dashboard, but it's there if you're interested. Okay, so this is my dashboard. I'm interested in bachelor level. These are my fields of study. I've got my COM preferences here. So I've signed up to school information. I've mentioned them several times, but scholarship deadline alerts, that's a biggie. Make sure you're signed up for that so you get alerts that let you know what's coming. Promotions and offers. So if there's something coming up, it could be a survey or whatever. That's the one you want to sign up to as well. Messages from ourselves, newsletters. So we have School Finder, Study, all sorts of different newsletters, and website tracking. We do a little bit of tracking in terms of behavior in order to improve the site, and also in order to improve your dashboard experience. So right now, if I flip back to dashboard, we've got a lot of content here, and we want to personalize this so it's more relevant to you. So understanding what you're looking at helps us do that. We've started doing that here. We have recommended categories. So based on, I'm interested in civil engineering, I can take a look at all the scholarships for civil engineering. Here are the featured scholarships, some offers, and then the scholarships. Let's go into that. So I have 27 scholarships that I'm eligible for. I may be eligible for. The Google Lime Scholarship is the first one. It's got a deadline of December 4th coming up. So let's take a look. So I look at it. It's the Lime Network. It's not renewable, not automatic consideration. We didn't talk about this, but many academic or school scholarships have automatic consideration. So when you apply to go to University of Waterloo or U of T, or you don't have to apply for the scholarship, but you may be eligible for it. And so if it's in that situation, you're automatically considered. You don't have to apply. By applying to the school, you're essentially applying to the scholarship, and they'll let you know if you win it. This one's worth $5,000. You can see here, it's moderate in terms of views. So more people have viewed it. Now, that may be because the deadline is the 4th. So as you get closer to the deadline on a scholarship, the number of people, the amount of interest increases. So more people are looking at it because the deadline is coming up. But still not a lot of, not a ton of traffic. It may be something for you if you meet the criteria. So you should be going to these fields of study. It's full or part-time. Region of studies, Canada, the US, it's very broad. Special need, interesting. So disability. So it looks like, now, if I was looking at this and I wasn't development and learning disability, but I had an interest in it, maybe I would reach out to them and say, I don't have this special need, but I could, I'm interested in the area. If you're interested in having my application, I'll fill it out. In this case, there's a phone number and a street address. There's usually also an apply now or more info. So if I click more info, I go to the website. So I get more information on the scholarship. But yeah, if you think you might be eligible, then I would reach out, especially this, it's $5,000, right? So if I like this, I might say, okay, I want to save it. So I click save. And that just goes to my dashboard as saved. And now it's there. I might want to follow up with it as it gets closer to the deadline, which is in a week, I guess. So let's see, back to the dashboard. And go back to view all. So it's in my saved scholarships here. Okay. So that's sort of the process. You look at the 27 that you've got, or whatever number, and you start to assess the ones that you're interested in, maybe want to pursue, and the ones that you don't. So you can discard scholarships, and that kind of helps you stay focused on the ones that you want to apply to. Okay. I'll stop again, Pray. If there are a lot of questions, great. Otherwise, I'm going to stop. I'm going to flip back to the presentation and then open up the floor.
Yeah, we have a couple minutes left until the end of the presentation, but there are quite a few questions coming in.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the screen share here. and flip back to the presentation. So share. Okay, that should load. Yeah, so we talked about featured scholarships. We saw where they're located. We talked about creating the profile. So when you go through it, answer the questions. Try to answer all of them, especially some of those like heritage interests, etc. And then the subscription. So be sure to sign up for scholarship deadline alerts and other emails. We won't kill you with email. You can unsubscribe anytime, but it is a great way to stay, to stay up to date, or to be informed about what's going on. Review your matching scholarships. We've just gone through that process, and the ones you like to mark them. You can also, we saw a quick search. You can do field of study searches. You can do keyword searches, all sorts of different ways you can get to the scholarships beyond just the matching. So general tips. Get motivated. You have to be willing to put in the time. So this is the ugly part of the presentation is, unfortunately, and we are, by the way, testing AI, but you still have to do a little work, I think, with AI, but there is a little bit of, and you have to do a little work anyway to apply. So if you want to win, the strategies that seem to work are not just going for that big $70,000 scholarship, because as I said earlier, there are probably 10,000 people doing the same thing. So what are your chances, right? Go for the smaller ones, and go for a lot of them. Have all your stuff already done, like your reference letters and whatnot, so you don't have to recreate them. We'll see that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But apply to many scholarships that are worth a small to medium amount of money. You're going to get rewarded. We have a person that we work with out west who does presentations, and she's built a business around it. But her strategy 15 years ago was to, and it still works today, go for a lot of smaller ones. She made, I think, $36,000 in scholarships by using that strategy. So it works. Dedicate a few hours per week. Keep your profile updated. I mentioned that if you get into a college or university next year, or you move schools, update your profile. It will help us identify opportunities and keep you up to date on new awards that you may be eligible for. Don't apply for awards you're not eligible for. If you have questions, contact the award administrator. Okay, I just mentioned this. Apply for the smaller awards. Be prepared. Have your reference letters, personal statements, cover letters, or resumes on hand. So you can do that ahead of time, especially with if you want reference letters. So if you go to a teacher or someone you work for in an organization, and you ask for a reference letter and you need it the next day because the deadline is the 30th of November, that's kind of crazy. Get all those reference letters done up, ahead of time. Like, have them ready, in fact, because it'll help you applying for jobs, not just scholarships. So get a portfolio of reference letters that you have available to use whenever you need them. I mean, now, if I don't know who's using LinkedIn, you'll all be using it if you're not, but you have references and sort of referrals by people on LinkedIn. A reference letter is sort of a similar thing. You just want them there available for whenever you need them. Personal statements, if you've written one, you can reuse that. You don't have to rewrite it from the start. Resumes, same thing. You should have an up-to-date resume. So get all that stuff. Have it on hand. It's easier to apply. Don't get discouraged. If you didn't win on the first one, you may win on the next one or the next one. So, stick to it. Create a boilerplate template for your documents, resume, so it's there. You can make adjustments when you need it for the specific award, personal statement, etc. Good. Personal statement basics. We have material on the website too on what works and what doesn't. But a personal statement: who are you? What are your goals? What will receiving the award mean to you? And what will it mean to your community? These are often good sort of starting points. And you do want to be concise. We manage a lot of awards, so we manage applications, and I know in managing them, if you ask for a 500-word personal statement and you get 1,000, it's tough, right? Like stick to the brief, the guidelines. If it's 500, it's 500. Okay. So tips, I added this today, and there's the first link here. Again, you're going to get this deck, but the first Discover article, frequently asked questions from a webinar we did 2 months ago, was quite good. There are hundreds of questions in there. You can kind of keyword search it. So it's a kind of fun, easy way to find answers to questions if you don't get them all answered today. Get answers to your school and scholarship related questions. Join us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, etc. We're also trying to make a major push into TikTok, and we will be looking for TikTokers. If you're doing anything on TikTok and you're interested and you're signed up to the site, make sure you're signed up with kind of I'm interested in School Finder group announcements, because we'll be sending something out, I think, in the coming weeks for people to help us with our TikTok account. And then check out School Finder, our school account, which will help you find the right school and program if you haven't done that already, and career. So there's some neat little career tools there as well. You get comprehensive program profiles, events. So we have all sorts of events listed as well, both on School Finder and Scholarships Canada. FAQs, I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm going to stop then, Preya, and we can do Q&A.
Okay, perfect. So we are at time, but we can probably go through a couple quick questions here. Okay, so some recurring ones here are there resources on the site for international scholarships, or can international students apply to scholarships on the site?
There are, but as I said earlier, not as nearly as many as domestic, which is unfortunate, but yes, but there are. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Another one we have here is, what kind of leadership or volunteer or community service should a student go for? Does it really matter what kind of community service they're doing? No,
not really. It's, are you involved in the community is what they're looking for. And it doesn't have to be like you're the leader of a 30-person team doing whatever. It's you're involved. You're doing something. That's what's most important.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so a lot of the questions are how to find scholarships, which I think you covered pretty well. I think they came in earlier in the presentation.
Okay.
One more question we have here is, if you win a scholarship, where does the money go? Does it go straight to the school, or is that your money?
No, it depends on the scholarship, but most of the academic ones sort of go to pay for tuition. The other ones, most don't go to the school. Some will. You can ask for clarification, but many are just awarded to you. So you get a check or a transfer. So money goes into your account.
Okay, great. And are scholarships only for undergraduate level students, or can you also get them at a master's level?
Yeah, no, they're undergraduate, graduate, even high school, as we saw, Horatio Alger. Yeah. Okay,
perfect. I think that covers most of the questions here.
Good, thank you. Right, we are on time. It was meant to be 5:45. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll just finish by saying any questions that weren't answered, we'll distribute the deck. Go to Scholarships Canada. There are resources there, FAQs and whatnot. Create an account if you haven't got one. Good luck. It's an exciting time. Lots of interesting things, opportunities. And yeah, I wish you all the best.